Good morning! It's December 9th, and this is your daily brief in science. Here's everything you need to know. A new longitudinal study from Karolinska Institute and Oregon Health and Science University links daily social media use to a gradual rise in inattention symptoms among children. The research followed 8,324 participants aged 9 to 14 over 4 years and found that spending more than 30 minutes per day on platforms like Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, Facebook, X, and Messenger correlates with increasing inattention, independent of socioeconomic status or genetic attention deficit hyperactivity disorder risk. The effect size for an individual child is small, but researchers say the population-level impact could contribute to higher ADHD diagnosis rates seen in recent years. The study does not claim that all social media users develop attention problems. Rather, it highlights a pattern associated with early and rising use among pre-adolescents, including apps with under 13 restrictions. Funding came from the Swedish Research Council and the Masonic Home for Children in Stockholm Foundation, with the authors calling for informed decisions by caregivers and policymakers. The findings, published in Pediatrics Open Science, aim to inform healthier digital consumption and its implications for cognitive development. A follow-up study plans to monitor participants beyond age 14 to see if the association with inattention persists into later adolescence and beyond. Experts advocate for stricter age verification and clearer guidelines for tech companies as social media use among children grows. The research notes the association persisted despite many apps targeting younger users, and the specific effect observed was on attentional concentration rather than hyperactive or impulsive behaviors. Key researchers include Torkel Klingberg and Samson Nivens, and the study is titled Digital Media, Genetics, and Risk for ADHD Symptoms in Children, a longitudinal study, with publication dated December 8, 2025. The study originates in part from Sweden and the United States, and the authors emphasize policy and design changes to support healthy digital development. Acknowledging that not every user will develop attention issues, the authors nonetheless call for continued monitoring and thoughtful regulation as digital engagement expands. A gamma-ray burst has set a new record in duration, with GRB 250702b lasting over 7 hours as a relativistic jet sliced through a dusty, massive host galaxy. The event occurred in a high redshift, dust-rich region, making optical detection difficult and requiring near-infrared observations to study the afterglow and host. Observers tracked the burst across multiple facilities, including Blanco, Gemini, Keck, and archival data from VLT and Hubble, over roughly 15 hours to 18 days after detection. The jet moved at least 99% of the speed of light through thick dust, and the long duration enabled simultaneous study of the explosion and its environment. Infrared data confirmed the GRB originated outside the Milky Way, with follow-up across several major ground-based telescopes. Hubble and Webb imaging helped characterize the host galaxy as exceptionally massive, more than twice the Milky Way's mass, located about 8 billion years in the past. X-ray monitoring revealed flares lasting up to 2 days post-burst, indicating extended accretion and energy release, with no accompanying supernova observed, potentially obscured by dust. The discovery involved an international collaboration spanning LSU, Carnegie Mellon, Rutgers, Radboud, the University of Birmingham, NASA, and others, coordinating space and ground-based observations. The event is being published in the Astrophysical Journal Letters and is described as a potential benchmark for interpreting future long-duration, highly obscured bursts. Researchers outline several plausible progenitors, including massive star collapse, exotic remnant interactions, or tidal disruption events, with no single cause confirmed yet. If GRB 250702b is a black hole consuming a star, it could signal a new class of GRB progenitors, and in that case, may represent evidence of a relativistic jet from an intermediate mass black hole. The study emphasizes multi-wavelength data across gamma-ray, infrared, optical, and X-ray bands to understand extreme environments where gravity and matter reach extreme conditions. Further observations are needed to distinguish among proposed scenarios, with scientists describing the work as cosmic archaeology that reconstructs distant events and highlights how much remains to learn about extreme phenomena. A new data readout from the Elevate trial set shows Elacestrant combined with everolimus or abemaciclib, delivering progression-free survival gains across several ER plus HER2- breast cancer subgroups. Researchers and executives emphasize Elacestrant as a potential endocrine backbone in these combinations, noting safety signals align with each partner drug's established profiles. Additional SABC's presentations expand the program, including SOLTI 2104 Premier, Elegant, Adela, Eradicate, HELP, and investigator-initiated studies, highlighting a broad slate of ongoing research. Menarini Group and Stemline Therapeutics are coordinating the press materials, with media contacts provided for follow-up. Safety information flags risks such as dyslipidemia, embryo-fetal toxicity, and common adverse reactions, while drug interactions focus on CYP3A4 inhibitors and inducers, and considerations for pregnancy, hepatic impairment, and lactation. Across the board, safety profiles for the combinations are consistent with the known profiles of Elacestrant, everolimus, and abemaciclib, with no new safety signals reported. Virginia Kaklamani, the presenting expert, and Menarini CEO Elson Barker Ergun underscore that the combination safety aligns with the individual therapies and standard endocrine therapy. The takeaways highlight no new safety signals for Elacestrant in combination and stable safety profiles. The SABC's presentations run December 9th through December 12th, 2025, with Menarini and Stemline leading the data discussion. In two Phase 2 combination studies, the safety signals align with each drug's known characteristics when paired with standard endocrine therapy, and efficacy signals show progression-free survival benefits irrespective of ESR1 mutation status. Background on Orserdu labeling covers safety information, adverse reactions, cautions about lipid changes and embryo-fetal toxicity, CYP3A4 interactions, and reporting channels. Supporting references include real-world data and clinical cancer research articles on Elacestrant outcomes and ESR1 mutant genomic factors in metastatic disease. Off-the-shelf gene therapy for T-cell acute lymphoblastic leukemia is showing early promise in a small trial. BCAR7 uses base-edited donor T-cells to create CAR T-cells that can withstand chemotherapy and avoid attacking normal cells. In the study, 9 children and 2 adults with TAL were treated, and about 2/3 remained disease-free for years, while roughly 4/5 achieved deep remissions that enabled stem cell transplantation. The New England Journal of Medicine reports that 82% reached very deep remissions suitable for transplant, and 64% stayed disease-free, with some patients now 3 years off treatment. Experts describe BCAR7 as an off-the-shelf therapy that could shift options for a cancer that often resists standard treatments, though they caution that these are early-phase results. Base editing allows donor T cells to function after chemotherapy while reducing off-target effects on normal cells. By using donor-healthy T cells, BCAR7 creates CAR T cells that can endure treatment and avoid targeting non-cancerous tissue. While many patients respond well, some do not, highlighting the need for ongoing research and careful consideration of patient experiences during intensive therapy. The study was published in NEJM and presented at the American Society of Hematology meeting, signaling cautious optimism and the need for confirmation in broader patient groups. Side effects were generally manageable, including low blood counts and rashes, with infection risk a concern until immune recovery. The therapy aims to clear leukemia ahead of planned bone marrow transplant to prevent relapse, especially when standard therapies fail. A new AutoML model from Thomas Jefferson University uses preoperative magnetic resonance imaging to distinguish pituitary macroadenomas from paracellular meningiomas with high accuracy. The study reports about 97.55% overall accuracy, with macroadenomas showing 97% sensitivity and 99% specificity, and paracellular meningiomas 98% sensitivity and 95% specificity, validated on 1,628 images from 116 patients and externally on 959 more images. The research was unveiled at the AAO-HNSF 2025 Annual Meeting and OTO Expo and published in Otolaryngology Head and Neck Surgery in December 2025. Experts caution that multi-institution validation and seamless integration into clinical workflows are needed before widespread adoption. The tool is designed to act as a second pair of eyes for surgical teams, potentially speeding decision-making and aiding preoperative planning. Clinically, it could support preliminary evaluations, triage and referrals, and adjustable high-sensitivity or high-specificity modes to fit different settings. This is the first AutoML application trained specifically to classify these two skull-based tumors, addressing diagnostic challenges from overlapping imaging features. The research notes the potential to streamline AI-driven diagnostic support in otolaryngology, contingent on broader validation and workflow integration. Looking ahead, researchers plan to add more imaging modalities and clinical data, pursue multi-label classification, and explore applications beyond skull-based surgery. The study emphasizes that improving preoperative diagnosis and tailored surgical planning is valuable given imaging overlap and diagnostic challenges between these tumors. This has been your daily brief in science. To read more about these stories, follow the links in the episode bio. You can also subscribe to these updates via email at www.brief.news. For more daily podcasts about the topics you love, visit brief.news/podcasts. Tune in tomorrow. We'll be back with everything you need to know.